Coming up on Texas Parks and Wildlife.
There's a piece right yonder. That's it.
This one little thing here can expand into acres and acres and acres.
This is a shared ocean, and that we need to work to understand it and to take care of it.
Pelicans have great scooping bills and can carry 3 gallons of small fish in their pouches.
We just think this park has everything we like about camping.
Look, I see one.
I can't think of a better place to spend a weekend than right here.
Texas Parks and Wildlife, a television series for all outdoors.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchase of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year.
Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Yeah, let's pull in another hole or two.
It's a rainy day on Caddo Lake.
We'll follow you.
Here we go.
And biologists are on the hunt.
We're going back toward the state line right now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to find it down there.
What they're after is a small plant.
We're looking for giant salvinia.
One little plant with a big, bad reputation.
There's a piece right yonder. That's it.
Yeah, not very big yet. This one little thing here can expand into acres and acres and acres.
That's why they call it the world's worst weed.
Giant salvinia, hydrilla and water hyacinth, ligustrum and salt cedar. These invading plants are all exotic and grow out of balance with native plants.
This is parrot feather. It's native to South America, and well, as you can see, once it gets in these bodies of water, it will completely take over. It's a very attractive plant visually, but in South America, it fits in with the natural ecosystem. Here, it does not.
One salt cedar at a time.
From West Texas desert to East Texas lakes, invasive plants are causing problems for native ecosystems. And biologists like Tim Bister are fighting back.
It almost looks like you could walk across it, doesn't it?
Caddo Lake is no stranger to invading exotic plants.
This is hydrilla here, probably the most abundant invasive on the lake, right next to water hyacinth.
But there is a new visitor from South America, giant salvinia.
See that plant right there?
It has everyone concerned.
Looks like it.
That here?
Yeah. Yeah, sure is. We kind of figured it was going to eventually get here, and it did.
Chances are, giant salvinia came to Caddo by boat trailer.
What do you think about that?
And was first brought to the States by someone who just thought it was pretty.
It's tough getting in there.
But a pretty plant, away from natural predators, can quickly become a pretty big problem.
Doing our best to keep it out of the Texas side of Caddo Lake.
Salvinia is the latest one, and it's by far the worst. I think everybody that lives on the lake should take up a very big interest in it. On the North Shores, where
for lake communities, the stakes are very high.
I have 2 tourism-based businesses on this lake.
The local economy here revolves around fishing, boating, and tourism, all of which are threatened by giant salvinia.
This was one of the first areas that it came to.
On the Louisiana side of Caddo Lake, the invasion is underway.
It looks like all this brown area, the state of Louisiana, might have been out here doing some herbicide spraying, which is good. It just grows so fast, and to be on top of it all the time, it's just, it's an uphill battle.
Been described as the worst aquatic plant in the world. It doubles in size in a week. It blocks out the sunshine. It takes oxygen out of the water. Everything just is gone. It's the only thing that survives, and it's a type of thing that can just completely kill a lake like Caddo.
The water's a little higher than last time.
It was trying to come back. We'll go see what's in there.
Ken Shaw and Jack Canson are also determined to save this lake.
Can you nose that way a little, Kenny?
Yeah, it looks like it.
The smallest piece of this plant can start a whole new colony.
That's giant salvinia.
So to keep floating salvinia in Louisiana from creating new problems in Texas, a local coalition is trying something bold.
The western half of the lake right now is not infected, and we want to keep it that way.
This group is building a fence across Caddo Lake.
We're running 2 miles of rope, 2 miles of netting, and we're installing over 500 posts.
I guess you could call it a major experiment. There are no 100% guarantees with it, but on the other hand, we don't see that we have a choice.
The barricade should slow the plant's advance, but only time will tell.
We're prepared to fail here and there, but we're not prepared to lose the war against giant salvinia because we didn't try something.
It's a nasty problem, killing life in the water. Tonight, NBC's Don Teague tells us about one community that's refusing to go down without a fight.
You're looking at an act of desperation.
NBC Nightly News came down and did a story on it. This is because of this fence.
It spreads from lake to lake by boat trailers and has now infested more than 50 lakes from Virginia to California. And for now, the future of Caddo Lake hangs on 2 miles of orange netting.
After weathering one growing season, the salvinia barrier seems to have helped.
Without all the efforts that have gone on this year on Caddo Lake, it could be a lot worse. Definitely opens eyes when somebody comes out here to the lake and sees this big orange fence, getting the public aware.
We should constantly be on the lookout. Education goes hand in hand with prevention.
It makes people realize this is a serious problem. Otherwise, no one would let those fools build that fence across this lake. And we feel like we are stopping some major infestations from happening.
Unfortunately, a good year of fighting one invasive does not mean success with them all.
It's ironic in some ways that we're also having the worst year for water hyacinth in anyone down here's memory.
By late 2007, thousands of acres of Caddo are covered.
The water hyacinth really has taken off this year.
It's bad news for biodiversity, bad for boaters, and for their motors.
With some herbicide treatments, you can keep these boat roads open. With a lot of the effort going towards giant salvinia, it's taken away some efforts from water hyacinth.
It's a manpower issue and it's also a money issue. You know, herbicides aren't cheap, but you also have to have the staff to apply it.
Aquatic herbicides may be preferable to invasive plants, but chemicals are just one option.
We would rather not use herbicides if we can help it. This is alligator weed. In the summertime, it will increase to a point where you could not move a boat through it.
To combat invasive alligator weed, biologists enlist a tiny army.
Those are alligator weed flea beetles.
We are actually introducing insects that are the natural predators. Ready to go. And we want to employ them as much as possible. That green spot right there looks like the best. The danger, of course, is you're introducing an exotic to control an exotic.
But these bugs are not released without extensive testing.
They have been approved by the USDA as biocontrol agents. Perfect. We can be reasonably confident that they're not going to impact the environment or the ecology where they're placed.
We can come back and check them.
Okay, good.
See how they're doing.
We've come a long way in biocontrol efforts. We don't expect them to eradicate the plant, but we do expect them to reduce it.
And other biocontrols are being developed.
See these scars on the leaf doing a little bit for us.
Even for the worst invaders.
With giant salvinia, I am very optimistic. Right there. We've seen really good results with the weevil.
At an Army Corps of Engineers lab north of Dallas, biologists are studying a tiny weevil that may help keep giant salvinia in check.
In a lot of areas where it has been released, it has gone in there and it's done an excellent job of controlling. And eventually they decimate the giant salvinia. Look at the damage. Yep. You never eradicate it, but I think it gives us a management tool. They are just feeding like crazy.
But the best tool to manage invasive plants may simply be education.
One of the most important things is public awareness and public involvement. We assume that many of these plants made it into the United States through the aquarium trade or perhaps the water garden trade.
Check your boat trailers, check your boats, you know, so that you don't spread this somewhere else.
While the struggle against invasive plants continues for the folks at Caddo Lake, their dedication also endures.
We're very fortunate up here at Caddo Lake to have these people that care about the lake.
Caddo is that important. It's more important than any of the rest of us.
All of the entities that have anything to do with Caddo Lake, they understand this is a fight we can't lose. We got to all pull together, and we're doing it.
It's breakfast time out here at the park, and the birds are hungry. Of course, we have plenty of food for them to eat because we have different types of birds eating a variety of foods. What do birds eat? The best clues lie in the shapes of their bills. The cardinal's bill is thick and cone-shaped and as strong as a nutcracker. It's perfect for sunflower seeds. The cardinal's cousin, the painted bunting, has a similar bill. Both cardinals and buntings forage on the ground and in shrubs for a tasty meal of berries, bugs, and large seeds. See the narrow tweezer-like bill on this warbler? It can easily hold tiny seeds, small bugs, and berries. It often feeds in low trees and shrubs. The hummingbird's long, thin bill acts like a straw to probe deep into flowers and sip nectar. Perhaps you've seen the great blue heron at the water's edge. Its sharp bill has serrated edges and a hooked point to spear and grab fish and frogs. One of the most distinctive bills belongs to the roseate spoonbill. It swishes its spatula-like bill back and forth in the water to find food. The sensitive tip of its bill will snap shut when it feels prey. Pelicans have great scooping bills and can carry 3 gallons of small fish in their pouches. Birds' bills are marvelous tools made especially for the foods they eat. So the next time you see a bird, look at its bill and see if you can figure out what's for dinner.
Most of the time, the Gulf of Mexico is a healthy ecosystem that endures in a delicate balance. Sometimes conditions change and create an environment where little survives. One situation occurs every summer off the coast of Louisiana. It's known as the dead zone. The scientific term is a hypoxia zone, an area depleted of dissolved oxygen which suffocates marine life.
The hypoxic zone off the Mississippi can reach to about 7,000 square miles in size each year, and it can have a direct effect on Texas. But we also have hypoxic zones that have formed off of Galveston, off of Corpus, and in different bay systems because of the same thing, and that is too many nutrients.
These nutrients come from a variety of sources. One is fertilizer routinely applied to crops. When rain falls, excess fertilizer washes off the fields and drains into the surrounding watershed. Cities and towns contribute their share, especially from over-fertilized suburban lawns. As the river approaches the coast, it is charged with the combined nutrient load from all of the human activity upstream.
Basically, it's like a garden hose It just sprays those nutrients out right into nearshore waters. And when the conditions are right during the late summer, you get these tremendous algal blooms, and they begin that whole process of dying off, decomposing, and using up the oxygen and creating these hypoxic zones. Of course, these creatures can't really get away very easily.
41% of the continental United States eventually drains into the main body of the Mississippi River. 12 million people also live in urban areas throughout the drainage area. Most of this land is the heart of America's agriculture industry. Over the past 150 years, the channel of the Mississippi has been lined with levees to control flooding. These levees keep the water and the nutrients flowing straight to the Gulf. Each summer, the hypoxia zone off the Mississippi is bigger than the summer before.
If that zone continues to expand as it seems to be doing, it doesn't expand like a balloon. It expands toward Texas. And so imagine, if you would, the entire upper Texas coast from Galveston to Sabine Pass having water with no oxygen in it for all the summer. That's a real possibility. That's why we all have a stake in what happens in this country, in the Midwest and so forth, to try to deal with that nutrient over-enrichment.
Sometimes it's not the lack of oxygen in the water that kills fish. Sometimes it's a certain kind of algae that is itself toxic. These are called harmful algal blooms, and the most common on the Gulf Coast is red tide.
It's very common during a red tide to see dead fish littered all along the beaches, and they can stretch for miles and miles and miles. Red tide specifically is caused by a species of algae named Karenia brevis, and when these algae reproduce very, very quickly, they turn the water red or reddish brown, and so that's what we here on the Texas coast know as a red tide.
Red tide is not a serious threat to most people, but can be irritating to the skin and lungs.
If you're out on the beach and you are bothered by the symptoms that you're experiencing, they should subside fairly quickly once you leave the beach. One thing I would definitely caution against is do not, under any circumstances, let your pet eat the dead fish that are on the beaches. We do have evidence now that those fish remain toxic and can cause serious illness, if not death, to animals who consume them.
When reports of a fish kill or algal bloom come in, the Kills and Spills team of Texas Parks and Wildlife investigates. The team collects water samples to determine if indeed a red tide bloom has occurred. The best place to find out the most current information is online.
Texas Parks and Wildlife has a page on our website devoted to harmful algae. When we're having an active event, we try and update it every day as we can.
Monitoring overall water quality is the responsibility of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
The TCEQ samples water in stations all over the state. We monitor lakes, streams, rivers, estuaries, and the streams that go into the estuaries.
Over 40 years of data collection offers a sober evaluation of water quality.
We have trends in both directions, both good and bad. But overall, the trends have been pretty good in the last 30 years. For example, nutrients have gone down in a lot of local water bodies since the 70s. We've also seen that oxygen levels in the Houston Ship Channel have gone up dramatically in that same time period. But on the other hand, we've also seen some areas where bacteria levels have gone up over the last 30 years too, which is not what we want.
With the population in Texas expected to double in the next 40 years, bacteria could be an ongoing problem.
We think that the bacteria levels are going up in a lot of areas because we're increasing urbanization and we're creating more pavement and more runoff. So there's less filtering of the water into the ground. It's just running straight off and carrying all the pollutants with it.
As our population grows, it becomes more important than ever that our bays receive freshwater inflows from rivers and streams to maintain the system's balance.
Freshwater inflows are very important to the bays and estuaries. Fresh water is critical to maintain the proper salinity gradient in the bays. Freshwater brings in sediments, and all those things are vital for the proper functioning of the whole bay ecosystem.
Along the beach, especially during the summer, bacteria concentrations can be a concern. The General Land Office operates the Texas Beach Watch program, which collects water samples at 167 locations. Bacteria counts are posted on their website. For a link, visit texasthestateofwater.org. Our use and enjoyment of the Gulf of Mexico has risks. Some we have created ourselves, and it's up to us to take responsibility for them.
Problems are arising because of what we take out of the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and what we're putting into it. With every breath you take, every drop of water you drink, you're connected to the existence of the blue part of the planet. And the United States is blessed with this big blue chunk called the Gulf of Mexico that delivers so much to us that we have in the past thought of as free and infinite in its capacity to recover no matter what we did to it. But we're learning that unless we take care of our actions, we're going to lose some of those special values of such great importance to us. Understanding that this is a shared ocean and that we need to work together to understand it and to take care of it and to use it, but to use it in a responsible fashion. Use it, but don't use it up.
We're quite pleased we found this place, and to me it's a hidden gem in the state park system.
Roger and Alice McCabe have brought their grandson Cole to Lockhart State Park for a weekend of camping.
We enjoyed bringing the grandson and the basketball, the bike riding, the fishing, the swimming, the whole thing. We just think this park has everything we like about camping.
Look, I see one.
I can't think of a better place to spend a weekend than right here.
The park is just outside Lockhart, about 30 minutes south of Austin. Many of the structures here were built during the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps. But the big attraction is a 9-hole golf course.
Oh. The view is perfect. We're right on the fairway, and we picked up a lot of golf balls. Cole and I picked up 23 lost balls yesterday in just a short time.
These friends play 3 or 4 times a week.
There you are, that's a par. We're still 1 under.
Leroy, Ed, and Bill are a fearsome threesome.
Look at that, that's pretty putt. That was a good 5.
And together, their combined age is 245 years old.
When you get this age, this is my exercise, and I've been here 18 years. And everybody that I've seen, most of them come to the point where if they quit, they go home and die instead of playing golf. Knock it in. So it's a good thing for us. That makes me mad when I do that. Ain't that awful?
If you need a break from the great outdoors, Lockhart is just a couple of miles away.
Lockhart's known for its barbecue. Even if you just want to come out for the day, you can come out and play a round of golf and then go eat some of the best barbecue in Texas.
But when asked which restaurant he prefers, Jay offers up a diplomatic answer.
I think they're all good. Quite a few campers and golfers come in and tell me that this is the best kept secret in Texas.
We're just going to have to learn to share this place with other people.
Well, that's good. Finally. About time he does something. Yeah, we played pretty fair. Every time I can get a 38, I'll take it all day.
Okay, thank you. Tricks of the trade. Look at that, isn't that cool?
That is something. I mean, with the camouflage quality of that egg, you're not going to come across that every day. You're not going to be able to see it.
Well, I'm gonna roll it for about 30 seconds to get close credits. Oh, we might need some for the next shot, you know. There, that'll be a pretty good shot for you. There you go. Look at all.
Okay, now.
Tarantulas.
Now hit it.
That whole thing is full.
Ain't moving that
You must be
good.
getting some, you're really getting some good stuff. Are you really, you're excited about that, obviously. That's
Oh,
great.
I've never seen anything like
Uh-huh.
That's me with 24 years here, and I've never seen it. See, young lady, you ain't very old and you're seeing this, and I'm 55, and it's the first time I've ever seen it.
You're 55?
Yeah. You thought I was probably about 72, didn't you?
No, that's my dad's age. Oh, look, they just moved. They all move at the same time. It's so weird. That is just too interesting.
They are fully equipped and ready to survive right now.
Right now, okay.
So when we get through, we can disperse them out under some tree.
Oh, man. Wow.
This is the most excitement that's occurred in the photo lab since I started work here.
What I'm trying to do is...
Yeah. One's trying to get out of it. That one that you had to push up before.
You got him?
Yeah. This was wonderful. Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah.
Let me turn off my light. Thank you.
This series is funded in part by a grant from the Wildlife and Sport Fish Restoration Program. Through your purchase of hunting and fishing equipment and motorboat fuels, over $40 million in conservation efforts are funded in Texas each year.
Additional funding provided by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.